Happy to have you here on the Harmony Principle podcast. Today, I'm joined by a woman who has a very rare gift for cutting through the fluff of spirituality to get to the reality of how we actually experience peace. She is a happiness specialist and the author of Reality Spirituality. Inner Peace Practitioner, Oracle, and student of the universe and its laws. She holds a Bachelor of Science degree in psychology and has decades of education and training on topics from spirituality to human behavior. She's hosted over 700 episodes of Reality Spirituality Radio, airing live on YouTube on Sundays at 9 a.m. Welcome, Rebecca L. Norrington. So happy to have you here today, Rebecca.
I'm so glad to be here and you can hear me okay. Everything's good. Sounds
Everything's
good.
beautiful. Thank
Okay,
you.
perfect. I'm so honored and happy to be here. We met on the OWL app and some people just click, the energies are compatible. So it was instant when our first conversation. And then you were inspired to ask me to join your podcast, and here I am.
Yay! And so happy to have you. And I love the OWL app. It's so great for allowing these kind of connections and things to happen. So if you guys aren't on the OWL app, please get on there so that you can find wonderful people that you can ask amazing questions and get true help and support from people all around. So it's really a
All over
great
the
place.
And just for clarity, the OWL app, the OWL is spelled OWWLL. I know it's crazy. OWWLL, and it's free to download.
Yes, definitely. I'll have to put a link in the chat for that one. Didn't
Yes.
grab that beforehand so that they can join us over on OWL and find you and me. So Rebecca. Let's
Yes.
start. Let's start and
Me,
get
me,
into
me.
some wonderful things about you. Yes.
Well, I'll start at the beginning. I get this question a lot. When I say I'm a happiness specialist, just for clarity, it is about how to maintain and sustain a personal energy or personal vibration of contentment and peace and harmony. How do you do that? And it is possible. When I say happiness, it is an energy, a vibration of contentment more than that. And how did I start? Well, decades ago, since I'm 70, but don't tell anybody. Decades ago, do you remember blowing out the candles on your birthday cake and making a wish?
Yes, indeed.
Well, I still do to this day. It's hard to find 70 candles. However, I digress. But I always wish for the same two things. And in my teens, I remember wanting to live to my potential, and I had no idea what that meant. I had no vision, but I said I want to live to my potential, and I wanted to be happy. And so what I found, this happiness thing was very elusive. When things were great in life, yeah, I feel great. But then when, of course, it hits the fan, then the emotions and the feelings, it's a roller coaster of emotions and feelings. And is it even possible to stay or keep that contentment vibe? And the answer is good news for everyone is yes. It's a practice like anything else, like being an athlete or a musician or an author or a chef or a landscaper. It is a practice. But what do you practice? Thanks for asking. You practice eliminating all of the program behaviors. Programming is just an example of brainwashing, conditioning at a very, very early age because we all came out blank slates. And the programming is the cause of the suffering. At least that's what I've discovered after decades of searching. And when I say searching, looking, it's really what are the answers? What's the truth? What is the truth about happiness? And the truth is not what everybody is selling, not what everybody believes. It's getting down to, in fact, even what's the truth of success? This whole thing, abundance, success. What is the truth? What is the truth about success? What is success? So define it for me if you want, Kay. What is your definition of success?
Mm. My definition of success, I would say that to me, success is when you have that internal peace. So if I'm doing something and I am at peace with it, I feel successful. So that's me. But I know
Mm.
everybody else has all these other things that they like to attach to it.
And I love that. And one of the things I say, we are as different as our fingerprints, all of us. And so
Hmm.
your definition, your what means, what is important to you, or what or is meaning to you may not necessarily be meaningful to me. And is that okay? Of course
Totally.
not. Of course not. The masses, no, it's not. You've got to think just like me. You've got to behave like me. But no, no. The practices, and when you talk about a program behavior, is thinking that what I think is important, you should think is important. That's just another programming. So letting these people go, meaning these people that are not like me or not like you, the practice is acceptance without judgment. Judgment's another programming.
Hmm.
So it's a lot. And in my latest book, it's called Program for Unhappiness. It's on Amazon. But in this book, I list 56 program behaviors. And they're at different levels. I don't know if I'm jumping all over the place, but just you can stop me if if you want. But
No, you're fine.
they're different levels. Level one, level two, level three. And an example of a level one program is worrying. When I
Mhm.
ask people, do you worry? Most people raise, yeah, I worry. Of course, when I asked you, my dear Kay, you said, "Eh, mm, no." But that is the practice, because the worrying is another program, and worrying is taught. You didn't
Mhm.
pop out of the womb knowing how to worry. And so worrying, number one, is a program. It's not your fault. And number two, it indicates a lack of practicing trust. You can't trust and worry at the same time. And the other thing about worrying, it becomes an addiction. Just like any other addiction, from drugs to alcohol to shopping, worrying becomes an addiction too. Because most of us know that worrying isn't healthy. It's not good for the person that you're worrying about. It's not good for you. But why do you continue to do it? Why can't you stop?
Hmm. That's a good question. Definitely, because you said because it's programmed to worry. If you're not worrying, you're doing something wrong, I suppose. That's why I was like, no, I don't really do it. Should I? Should I be worried?
No, no. There's really, so the worrying indicates a lack of practicing trust. So to eliminate that worry, it first of all, know that all of these behaviors, these program behaviors, it takes time. And so the practice is to be patient with yourself, with the process, with all of it. Be patient and accept self and where you are, where I am. I wasn't the same person I was a year ago, 6 months ago. So it's a continual growth, expansion, more awareness, more consciousness. And how did I start? Yeah, so this journey of what is happiness in the first place? It is a continual state. It is rooted in, the foundation is rooted in peace. That's how
Hmm.
I define happiness.
Interesting. So you're saying that this whole journey for happiness started with birthday candles. I
It's
love that. And what
it's
you wanted for life.
Yes, it started with not wanting to do this up down emotional roller coaster. And was it
Hmm.
even possible to be calm and balanced and at a level of peace,
Hmm.
regardless of what life threw at me? And the
Yes. Yeah.
answer, yeah, and it is a practice, and the answer is yes. And if I can do it, anyone can do it.
Awesome. I love that.
However,
Hmm.
it comes back to valuing what is valued. Is peace, is inner peace even valued? Is contentment even a priority? So the program is drama, is exciting there, because there was a time in my life where drama was more important than peace. And it is really an awareness and valuing that. In fact, I was speaking with, well, he's very well known. You can Google him. His name is, and I'm not saying anything that isn't true, his name is JT Fox. And I said, he's a global speaker, and I asked him, I was in one of his workshops, free workshops, and I said, how do you monetize something that people don't value until it's too late? And he said, find something else to sell. So,
Yeah.
and this is a segue. This is a segue into there's a very famous study. I don't even know if we talked about this, Kay, but there's a very famous study online. It's called The Five Most Common Regrets of the Dying. And it
Mm.
was done by a hospice nurse. Her name is Bronnie Ware in Australia, Bronnie Ware, Bronnie. And so she asked her patients who had days to live, weeks to live, months to live, what are your five biggest regrets? And would you like me to read all of them or just the fifth regret?
Mm. Tell us all five. We have time.
Okay. The first one is I wish I had pursued my dreams and aspirations and not the life others expected of me. Number two, I wish I didn't work so hard. Shout out to my workaholics. Number three, I wish I had the courage to express my feelings and speak my mind. Number four, I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. I always put an asterisk by that, and I just say sometimes we just outgrow people. Nothing wrong with them, nothing wrong with you. It's just time to it's just a different season. And then the fifth regret is I wish I would have let myself be happier.
Mm. Yes. Let yourself be happier. That is such a profound truth right there. It's about allowing that space. So how would you suggest to people or help them to understand how to allow themselves to have that happiness or to find that happiness? I know you have your whole happiness formula, right?
Well, the happiness formula is what is the happiness formula? Okay, this is the happiness formula. I'm going happiness formula. Do I even have one of those? Okay, I guess I do. So if I said to you, I have something that will be the answer and the solution to all of your problems, to all of your challenges, to all of your struggles for the rest of your life, would you want to know what that is?
Well, yeah, of course we would.
Oh, here we go. Here's the answer. There's not a lot of people running to the mirror to look in it and say, hmm, what can I do different? What do I need to change? How can I, oh, hold on a second. Hold on. Oh, okay, good. What do I that was a joke. What do I need to do? And so the practice, and I say it's a practice skill, contentment, inner peace, happiness are all practice skills. The practice is not easy. The practice is not warm and ooh, it is a challenge, but it is the most as far as I'm concerned, the biggest achievement. And that achievement is to know what to do during those high challenges, during the storm. How do you remain peaceful when there's a tsunami and those winds and the waves are crashing? How do you remain peaceful? With practice. And not only what are you practicing? Practice observing this person, this identity, this human, this I say this Rebecca. Practice witnessing and observing what happens. Step out of this humanness. And that's just one of the practices is witness.
Yes, yes, witnessing and observing. In your experience, what would you say is, why is it so hard for us to hear our own internal needs over the noise of what we think we should be doing?
The internal needs, when you say internal needs, are you
Mhm.
what do you mean specifically internal
Like the
needs?
things, like the things that are actually important to us. Like, like we may want to do XYZ thing, but your parents are saying you should go do this thing. And so then you go do what the parents are saying or something like that. And then you years down the line are like, why did I follow that career path? I had no interest in doing that and I'm miserable. So
Oh,
those kind of things, the
okay.
shoulds
Yeah.
versus the wants.
Yes. Okay. So there's two words I don't use. I use all the other words, but two words I don't. I don't use the word should, and I don't use the word mistake. All the other words I use, all of them. But the whole should thing is I used to be labeled a procrastinator. My parents labeled me a procrastinator, which meant I labeled myself a procrastinator until I talked to this woman who was she was a little older, and she was assisting me on, a little on guidance. And she says, "You're not a procrastinator." She says, "You're just not inspired yet." So the whole program of shoulds and what I should do, just realize that that is a programmed thought, a programmed story, and that is really the culprit. If what I say is, if it's more than 3 words, you know it's a story, and it's a story authored by who? Authored by what entity? The mind, the ego, the constant thoughts. So that's not who you are. You're not your thoughts. You're not your stories, contrary to popular belief.
Ooh, that's juicy. I love that.
Juicy.
So, if we're not our thoughts and we're not our stories, then what are we?
Ooh, good question. We are conscious energy having a human experience. That's it.
Mhm.
The spirit, God, soul, universe, whatever you want to say, we are conscious energy having a human experience, and this an energy cannot be created or destroyed. And so when this body goes, your consciousness is still going to be around. And when you scratch, let me just speak for myself. When I practice separating and knowing my true identity, my real identity, the shoulders drop, the pace slows down. There's nothing that I need to do other than, if I'm inspired, okay. And there is a connection, there is a conversation, the conversation with the creator, God, the universe, which is still me. It is an open conversation, and that's guidance, and you can tell, you can feel the difference. The mind, what it wants more than anything else, what it thrives off of, is discontentment. Something's wrong, this moment needs to be more. No. And the thing is, so either I'm vibrating satisfaction or dissatisfaction in any moment. Am I satisfied in this present moment? Yes or no? Hmm. Well, I know the ego isn't satisfied. The ego is going to find something wrong. The ego is going to find something more to do, or more to want, or more to desire. But I'm not the ego. So you know what? I can watch you from afar. You can perform on your stage, but I'm not you.
Mm. Yeah. Yes.
And so back to the desires and the wants. See, that's a tricky one. So years ago, I had to I mean, if I'm a happiness specialist, I have to force, okay, I'll surrender to what? Well, but my desires, and to help people and inspire people. And no, I only desire and want what God, the universe, wants for me, period. I have no, Rebecca may have them, but no, I don't have any desires other than what's happening in the present moment. Well,
Mm.
what kind of lazy ass way is that to live? Oh,
It's not lazy at all.
yeah, so that's my take on that.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I think that through my experience, we kind of wound up in a lot of the same places where it's like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, as humans, we're supposed to be human beings. Can we just be? I mean, why not just be? So, so much forcing and trying to achieve these things that people have laid out as goals to check off, like we're playing a video game. So, I don't know if you could speak more to, since a lot of my community is women and moms, that whole concept of how moms are kind of, what would you say, conditioned or programmed to be selfless and to give, 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 give. And a lot of them give to the point that they have nothing left and they're just overextended and exhausted. What would you say that we can do around that as moms too? Um, yeah.
Well, first off, being a mom is not easy. I'm a mom of one, and boy, oh boy, that was a lot. And when I say a lot, it going back to the programming, I was a programmed mom. I was raised with programmed parents, and so when I say the programming, there is so what do I think, what did I discover is one of the most important things I could do as a mom? Of course I discovered it too late. When I say too late, it's not too late. There's no such thing as too late. Your discovery, your answers, everything comes when it's time. Everything comes when it's time. So this looking back and I wish I would have done that and this happened and I made this decision. No, no, all of it is in order. Everything happens when it's supposed to happen. And but back to the mom thing. And this is different because children that are smaller, that are little, the little need that need more guidance, it's a different vibration. And we're talking about teenagers, but then it still comes back to, do I trust that God has this kid? Do I trust that the universe is taking care of this child, which, oh, it's my child, but no, it's really a child of God, of the universe. And so number one is to trust that this child, daughter, son's journey is exactly what is, it will unfold exactly the way it's supposed to. Really, it's coming back to trust. And then what are you teaching? So most parents that worry teach their children how to worry. And then the thing I hear all the time is, yeah, but I'm a mom and it's normal to worry. Well, it's not normal. And so the worrying, and I come back to that only because it's an easy example. What are you teaching your child? Are you teaching them to worry? Are you teaching them to trust? Are you teaching them to use their intuition, their inspiration? Are you teaching them to go in? And are you teaching them that all of these emotions, all of these feelings have nothing to do with what's happening? It has something to do with what's internal. There was, I was gonna, darn it, and I had a prop. Can I go get it
Uh-huh.
real
Yeah,
fast?
yeah, go get it. Go
Don't
grab
go
your prop
anywhere.
for sure. For sure. Yeah, no, definitely. To that extent, the concept of worrying as a mom, I remember being like at the playground with my last son, and he's just one that loves to climb and do all kinds of things. He's all quote unquote boy, as they say. And he'd be at the top of the jungle gym, like actually literally on top of it. And the moms there would be like, "Oh no, are you worried? Shouldn't we get him down?" I'm like, "No, he'll be fine. And if he falls, he'll learn that maybe that's not a good thing to do." Luckily, he's, a teenager now. He hasn't broken any bones. But he knows how to use his body. He trusts himself. He trusts his body. And I thought that was more important than me being the helicopter mom all over the playground set, like, "Oh, don't do that. Oh, don't do that. You might fall. You might scrape yourself. That's what band-aids are for. We have doctors to fix bones." I'm like, he won't die. I don't think he's going to die here on the playground. So let him have fun. Let him explore. Let him experience. And I'm not going to worry because I don't want him to worry. And I think that's a good example of how that is in motherhood, at least for me.
The other thing about worrying these moms, I hear it all the time with when if I'm out and about and a little kid drops something on the floor. Oh, don't pick that up. It's dirty now. Ah! And that here we go with all the germaphobes. If you're a germaphobe, know that your parents were germaphobes too. Nothing wrong with being a germaphobe, but I'm just saying the programming is so deep. And so what I would encourage people is to, here we go, people, mothers, mirror. And I think one of the biggest gifts that you can give your daughter or son is how to navigate this life. A's, C's, B, what? How do you navigate challenges? That's a big
Exactly.
gift. And know and trust that everything is in order and trust that no, it's not, it's really not. things will, what do I want to say? It really comes back to surrendering and trust. That's it, without resistance.
Yes.
This, this is my prop. Let's pretend it's an orange. And this isn't my idea. I saw this on a video, but it's a great video. So this is a small lemon and it's so old that it's hard as a rock. Anyway, let's pretend that this is an orange. Let's scratch that. It's a lemon. And I'm squeezing it. And what's going to come out? What's going to come out of this lemon? Lemon juice.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I squeeze pineapple juice, orange juice, apple juice is not coming out of this lemon. And me squeezing it, the person that's squeezing it doesn't determine what's inside, doesn't determine the lemon juice either. So whatever you have inside is going to come out. It has nothing to do with your circumstances. So that's why all of the practice and all of the work and all of the attention is what's going on inside here. If I'm driving, this whole road rage thing, if I'm driving and someone cuts me off, I flip them off. Ah, those reckless drivers, inconsiderate drivers. Ah. No, that's not why I'm angry. I'm angry because I was angry before I got in the car, but my fingers are pointing out. And that's another program, is to blame circumstances or to blame other people for how you're feeling, including husband, including children. This blaming someone else for your feelings, it's just not the truth. And so, what do you do with all these feelings? The feelings are normal, the feelings are natural. We're human, we're feeling. But I'm not going to put the word because I'm feeling this way because someone said something or did something or didn't. No, it's just time for me to feel that without a story, without a blame. It's just time for this feeling.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I talk with women about when we were talking about harmony. I talk about observing, just observing and not judging. And it's really hard for some people at first to sit with that, just experiencing life. And I think that is actually, to me, the most fun thing about life is actually just experiencing it and observing what's going on. And, oh, I have this emotion. That's interesting. Why do I feel that way right now? Huh. You know, or, oh, that person's doing that. That's kind of weird. Why are they doing that? Huh, interesting that they're kind of just doing their thing and just kind of letting it all ebb and flow like it does, not being like, oh, that's wrong that they're doing that. They should never do that. That's terrible. But for some people, it's an automatic response to judge. And I know that in our saboteur assessment, which I give a lot of people when they sign up with me, the judge is usually like the number one saboteur that we have in our life. And I know you may push back a little bit on the sabotaging yourself thing, but I just think it's a really interesting assessment to be able to go through. And then you see these different things like the judge or the hyperachiever or the victimhood. And I wonder if that's also something that's coming from, like you're saying, the parenting and the programming from who you're around as you're growing up, because they're judging people. So now you think you need to judge people, or because they're hyperachievers, now you feel like you need to hyperachieve. Or do you think that's part of just our being, like being a lemon?
Well, let's get real specific here as opposed to just general and we and the most people, but
Mm-hmm.
let's get really specific. But back to your point about judgment. Judge Judging someone is a program behavior. You didn't pop out of the womb knowing how to worry, and you didn't pop out of the womb making a judgment. And all judgment comes from, number one, it's a program. It's not your fault. You were taught. The other thing, it starts with self. If I'm judging myself, I know I am judging others. And so the practice comes, remember I said the mirror? The practice comes back from the judgment of self. And so this is what's the solution. Here we go. Let's come up with a solution. The solution, at least my solution, the solution is you go outside, hands up to the sky, universe, God, whatever you want to term. How do I practice letting go of judgment? How do I practice eliminating judgment? How do I become more aware that I'm judging self? And the awareness is the work. The awareness is the practice. And I'm not going to say when it happens, but gradually with time and with patience and with focus, the judgment starts to soften, and it starts to be less, and it starts to it starts to fade. But the other thing, getting back to judging self, is acceptance of self where you are. No judging yesterday. No, no, yesterday is over. Why am I even talking about yesterday? Yeah, oh, that's one of my things. Oh, hey, Rebecca, how was your weekend? Uh, I don't do backtracks. I don't go, oh, you know what I did on Saturday? You know what I did on Sunday? I don't do that. I don't do I don't do rehashes. In fact, I've lost a lot of people because people like to rehash. If you really listen, it's all about yesterday. Not that I'm judging it, it's just there's a difference between noticing, being aware, witnessing, and judging and describing. Describing and judging are different. But
Yes,
it all
yes.
comes from self, it all comes from judging self.
And I think it's very important that you pointed that out, the difference between awareness, describing, and judging, because judging has usually more of an emotion with it, right? Where the other ones are just, hey, that thing is blue. Not, oh, I love that that thing is blue. Or I hate that that thing is blue. It's just that thing is blue. It's like it's a
Yes.
description, it's just a fact. It just is.
Yes.
And yeah, I never really thought about that whole living in the past, like how was your weekend? That's never been a question I've asked. I'm like,
Oh,
how are you doing now? How are you today? How
oh,
are you? What's up? What are you doing? What's the
e-
plan? Where are we going?
even that question, even that question,
Yeah.
it's a, I just, there is for me there is a noticing of the program behaviors that on
Hmm.
Friday, hey, you got anything? When I go to the chiropractor, my chiropractors with the same questions, and my practice is, listen, are you getting triggered by that? Are you get your buttons pushed? No, that just means that I have more to let go of, and it's a good signal, it's a good sign, and it's not resisting. So I go in, okay, universe, give me all the program questions that you want, and I'll be okay. But it's the on the Friday, in fact, I go today later on, hey, what are you doing? Anything fun over the weekend? If it's a Monday appointment, what'd you do on the weekend? Anything fun? You got anything? Oh, I'm already getting these. Anything planned for Christmas? What are you doing on Christmas? What? I'm trying today, baby. I'm trying to stay right. Scratch the trying. I'm practicing in the moment today. I'm not talking about Christmas. I'm not. You can. I'm not.
Yes, practicing presence in the moment. Exactly.
Presence in the moment, please.
Yes, yes. That's what they say, right? That depression is living in the past, anxiety is living in the future, kind of thing. I've heard a few times.
Uh, I don't know. Depression is living in the past. Well, it's a program to live in the past, and it's a program to live in the future.
Hmm. Definitely. Yes. So, what was the other thing? Delusion. Can we talk a little bit about
Delusion.
delusion?
Yes, yes.
So, when is it healthy or useful to be a little delusional? Is that something that you would say is a thing, or how would you describe,
Well,
oh,
you
what is the
tell,
word?
how about this? Because this is very general. How about this? You tell me when you were delusional, and let's break it down.
Oh, I don't think I'm delusional, but I think other people might describe my point of view as delusional because I'm just like, hey, we're in the moment and let's just live life. And they're like, whoa, but what about this and what about that and all these things you have to be worried about and prepared for. And I'm just like, life is going to be amazing and let's live it. Let's just enjoy it.
And so, how many people do you find like that, like you?
Hmm. I wish more.
Well, hold
I,
on. So
I,
let's I wish more. No, no, we don't
yeah,
wish
yeah.
more. No, we don't wish for more. because everything is fine the way it is. We don't wish for more. See, that's
Yeah.
another thing. And let me tell you,
Hmm.
I used to know what was wrong with everybody on this planet. I know what their problem was, what your problem was. I wish you were better, or I wish you could see it this way. No, I don't wish
Yeah.
nothing for
Yeah. I
anyone.
wish you would worry less. I wish you would, yeah.
None of it.
We'd be
None of it.
wishing all over people, right? Wishing and shitting all
Yeah,
over people.
and that's another program behavior. And this is a tough one. Everybody put your seatbelts on. Another program behavior is being in somebody else's business, noticing what someone else is doing, noticing what someone else is doing, and then putting a judgment on it. I mean, I can see what people, I mean, I can describe what people are doing, but I know that we're all on our own unique paths. And I trust that and not only trust it is going to the life is going to unfold the way it's supposed to. I can't stop it. I can't start it. Let's get back to the now. We really need a seatbelt with this sabotage thing, and I get it. I've listened. I've heard a lot, but there's no. My perspective is there's no such thing as sabotaging. It's saying that, oh, if I do this, God won't be able to get through. If I do this, the universe's plan is going to be foiled. No, the universe, source, God, you cannot, I scratch that. I cannot sabotage anything. What happens is it is a story that the ego will come up with. Yeah, this is the kind of behavior that sabotaging. And see, it always comes back to I have all this power. Scratch that. The mind has so much power. The thoughts have are so powerful. And I'm here to tell you that the more I let the mind know that you are not powerful and your thoughts are not true, then it also weakens its hold and its grip, and it can't hold on to anything. But the mind will want to convince me that yes, I am you, you are me. And that's just another story from the mind. Is there anything in the universe that can be sabotaged in nature?
That's a good question. I mean, we can ruin things. We can, set the forest on fire, but it comes back. It figures
Well,
it out.
okay, so you see how you just said we can ruin it. So you see, there are places where you purposely set the forest on fire. I mean, I'm from Oregon. Okay,
Hmm.
but see, you see that you can ruin it. No, no, I'm not ruining. There's impossible. It's different. It's a different way of thinking. No, I can't ruin anything.
Hmm.
But the mind will have me believe that I can. You,
Hmm. So what would you call it then when you've set the forest on fire? If you haven't sabotaged it, you haven't ruined it, what have you done?
and this is a hypothetical, which
If it's accidental, actually, not purposefully setting it on fire.
okay, I probably could have said this. I really don't do hypothetical questions. Like, what if
Hmm.
the forest
Hmm.
is the forest on fire?
Yeah,
If
yeah.
the forest is on fire, it's supposed to be on
It's supposed to
fire.
be on fire. Yeah. Yeah. I kind of felt you were going to go that way.
Yeah, and if I am not where the mind says that I should be,
Hmm.
it's another mind trick. It's another story. It's really getting outside of here. Thoughts are, I don't know about you, I can't control my thoughts. They come and go, and I get the same thoughts, the same doom and gloom, negative thoughts. But guess what? You don't have any power. It's just like watching clouds go by. Clouds don't have any power. Just, yeah,
Yeah. Observe the cloud and let it go on by
observe the cloud. Yes.
and do what you got to do. Yeah. So, yeah, did you have more to say about sabotage?
Well, other than there's no such thing, but that's it.
I love it. I love it.
Now, see,
So,
anyone can believe if they want to believe that, yeah, I'm sabotaging myself. You can believe that, but I'm here to tell you that's just not true. But you can
mhm,
believe it.
mhm.
Does that belief, how does that belief make you feel? Peaceful? Content?
I think that for the people that feel like they're sabotaging themselves, feeling like they have control and like they're able to stop that somehow and then have better results is really what's going on. And so that feeling of I have control over this and I can fix it is, I think, the real thing that's going on there.
Okay. I have control. That's an illusion. Control is an illusion. And thinking that they could fix it, there's nothing that's broken. But back to the programming, it's just very, very deep. And some people, I say we're all avocados. And some people are ripe and it's time for them to get it. And then some people, it's just not time. But we're all avocados, but it's just not time. And
Mm.
my practice is to accept the ones that it's not time and not try to make it time. It's got to be time. Yeah.
For sure, for sure. Definitely all things in their due time. So back to happiness being a skill. Um, what does what we consume, like our thoughts or the people we're around or media even, how do all of those things, fuel how we experience happiness, the skills that we need to build around that?
The skills, okay, so the skills that add to contentment and happiness, and again, practiced skills are, let's see, I have a list,
Mhm.
25 so far.
Hmm.
In any moment, in any moment, you are either choosing peace or drama. So you just ask yourself, is this what I'm going to say, what I'm going to do, is this going to cause peace or drama? I'm a simple kind of simple yes or no. And you can make a different or you can make a decision in the moment. And sometimes peace is just being quiet and not responding. And the awareness also requires pausing before responding. There's a difference between reacting to life and responding to life. And the reacting is all a program. Somebody cuts you off or somebody says something, reaction, stupid question, reaction. Well, you already know that that's a program. So are you desiring, scratch that, are you wanting to transcend this program that is so deep and so rooted? Let me just go back to one of the things that adds to peace. We talked about trust, letting go of what? Letting go of any expectations, of any attachments to any outcomes, letting go of this, the mind wanting everything to be certain and everything to be, okay, this is how it's going to fall. But being open to, I think we talked about this earlier, okay, being open to being at peace with uncertainty, living in a state of uncertainty, and that's peaceful. That's a practice. And it's a practice in trust, and it's a practice in surrendering and letting go. Being okay with uncertainty. You know how many times people say, God, that's hard. That's what I get a lot. It's hard. Yes, it is hard. Peace, contentment all the time. It's not easy, but the rewards. You are going to be the one that is when the world is like this. Now, does that mean that you're just not going to do anything and not contribute? No, your energy is your contribution to the planet. Your energy, your personal vibration. If you're angry or you're sad or if you're whatever vibration, that is your contribution in the moment. And you can still take care of business, but have that energy of contentment. That's what you're offering to the planet.
Mm. Yeah. So that energy of contentment and that vibration, having that, I know that you said something about some of your happiest times being some of the worst times. So when people are going through like a valley, I guess you could call it, maybe a health crisis, dealing with a difficult child, their business is failing, like how do you practice that skill of happiness when those circumstances are so heavy on the mind and the body? And how do you keep that energy, that vibration high through those times?
Again, it's a practice. And if you continue, if you value it and you prioritize, let me just say this. I was talking to a family member, this was decades ago, and I said, this this happiness, this energy. I gave him an example. I said, what if somebody broke into your house and you were awakened by it, you're startled. Now they got to snuff you out because now you can recognize them. So they have a pillow and they're putting it over your head. You can't breathe. They're trying to move the pillow and they're forcing the pillow. And so my point is wanting to experience more contentment, peace, and happiness has to be at a level where you want to breathe. And when you have it at that level with that much fervor and that much, then it's going to be an easy decision in any moment. This other thing with life, with life happening, health. One of my really good friends, she just was diagnosed with, it's a blood cancer. It's a myeloma, blood cancer, and we don't know exactly what the diagnosis is going to be yet. She's still going through with tests. Her white blood cells are getting higher and higher. Anyway, it is a mindset. And I listen, I'm not just be happy. No. But when you practice separating and you practice knowing who you really are and you practice this is the body going through that. And you said it earlier. Is it possible this sounds so callous. Is it possible to vibrate at a higher, scratch the higher, at a level here, here? Is it possible and still have cancer? Yeah, you can vibrate here. Yeah, you can. But it still comes back to a practice. And I say it
Mm-hmm.
over and over and over again. So when these things happen, when life hits, then you are ready.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And can you describe a bit more for us in the few minutes we have left of what that practice looks like in
Okay.
a tangible way?
Okay. Let me give an example. Okay. When
Mm-hmm.
I said when I said 56 program behaviors levels 1 through, what time is it? Are we this was 5 minutes?
Yeah,
Uh
we're running out of time.
no. When I said let me just share a program behavior. This is level 3. A program behavior meaning that you didn't have it when you were born, you learned it. Level 3, here we go. Thinking anything is serious, thinking anything is important. What? Blasphemy. So you can still journey through this life without this extra energy of this is serious, this is important. It just is. The serious and important is it's a heavy vibration, and it's not necessary, and it's a program. The other thing, I'm going to throw this out really quick. Did I tell you my Walter O'Brien story?
I don't think so. I don't
Oh,
remember one.
okay. It was September 2021, and this is going to tie everything in. September 2021, and it was a marketing event, marketing networking event, and it was held in California, attended by all these big wigs, billionaires. The gentleman that started Priceline, Jeff Hoffman, he was there. The guy that invented Uggs was there. Just a lot of heavy ticket people. And they were very generous. They were speakers. They were very generous with their time. And there was one gentleman, his name is Walter O'Brien. You can Google him. And supposedly he's worth $50 million and he has an IQ of 197. I didn't say this. IQ of 197. He's stopped terrorist attacks in the United States. He's the inspiration for the CBS show Scorpion. I don't know if you've heard of it, but anyway. So for some reason, I just wanted, I was drawn to him, and I wanted to talk to him. Can I have a conversation with someone with 197 IQ? Hmm. Anyway, I tapped him on the shoulder. It was the last day of the event, and I introduced myself, and we went outside. It was just he and I by ourselves. And I said, "Greetings, Mr. O'Brien. My name is Rebecca Norrington, and I'm a happiness specialist." I didn't say it like that, but I said, "I'm a happiness specialist." And before I could say anything else, he said, "I would never hire you to work in any of my companies because what you do is toxic." I said, "Toxic?" And you see how your eyebrows went up? Your eyebrows went up because it's a program response. So
Mhm.
anyway, so he said toxic. I said, "Toxic? Happiness specialist. Tell me more," which he proceeded to do. And he said, and I wrote it down. It's actually a story in the book, but he said, "I've wasted 35 years of my life studying and pursuing happiness. I've contributed zero to the planet. Searching for happiness and inner peace is delusional. What I've accomplished can't be measured. Therefore, I've accomplished nothing." That was my favorite. He said I was selfish, and he said if the people I counsel they don't employ at least 1,000 employees, then I'm wasting their time, wasting everyone's time. Now I said, "What?" And I'm listening to this. I'm hearing it all. Now remember, I said it's a practice. When he said toxic, I started laughing. Now, how could I start laughing when someone is what the world says is insulting? Number one, and this is another seat belt. Words innately do not have power. I know the program says that words are powerful, energy is powerful, but a man-made word, I'm going to let a word take me here or there. A word, you can't hurt my feelings, you can't offend me. Words are powerless in my life, and it's been a practice because there was a time when you said, "Hey, Rebecca, you look tired." My day would be ruined. But I digress. Number two, so number one, words are innately not powerful. Number two, it's never personal. I don't care what anybody says to you, how they say it, yelling and screaming. It is not personal. This is an impersonal universe. That's another practice. Number three, there are 360 degrees in a circle. And so I say that whenever anything comes up, my practice is to automatically find another perspective. And this man with 197 IQ only has one perspective on happiness. I got him beat on that. Yeah, so just can you find another, scratch that, practice finding another perspective because the ego and the mind will only give you one perspective if you notice it. "Hey, ego, can you tell me how this horrible situation, health, parents, children, husband, wife, money, financial, can you tell me how this is serving me? Because I trust that it is. I just can't, I'm not comprehending it in the moment." The mind will be silent. It only offers one perspective. That's when you know it is the mind.
Mm.
The other thing, and the other thing is the man with the hump in his back, the man that walks like this and can't walk straight. He has to walk bent over. What does he want more than anything else?
Mm. To
Not
be
to
able to
get rid of the
stand.
hump. Yeah, not to get rid of the hump, not to stand up straight, not to find a woman with the hump. No, he wants you to have a hump too. So I say it's not that misery loves company, misery needs company. And so back to Mr. O'Brien, after all of the, and I don't even call them insults, to go all the way back, this is what I practice. So in any moment, and this was in 2021, in any moment, my response, not my reaction, is going to be different. It's not going to be a program response. I don't know if somebody was called toxic and selfish and useless and a big zero. How am I able to laugh at that? The practice works. And in fact, let me just show you this September. I can't believe we're running out of time.
I know. That's why I was like, sometimes we need more than one conversation because this stuff is just so juicy and so full and rich that it can't
It
fit in
is.
1 hour.
Okay, here we go. And then after all of that, I asked Mr. O'Brien, can I take a selfie with you? Here
Hmm.
we are.
Oh
That's Walter O'Brien. You can Google him.
boy. Yeah.
And yay, a selfie. So that's the practice in a nutshell.
Yeah, definitely. Just being able to take yourself out of the moment and make it not about you at all is kind of how I express it because it's not about you. It's it's really not. No one's caring
Never.
about you. Nobody's thinking about you. They're
That's
just
right.
trying to, we're all just trying to survive. And I'm like, but I want to thrive. Like, forget the surviving. I'm doing that part. That's easy.
Okay. So let me hit back on this one. Thrive, survive. So what's thriving look like? What's surviving
To
look
me,
like? It's
to me, the thriving is the happiness, where
mm,
surviving is just like, oh, I have food, I have shelter, I'm alive, I'm here. But maybe you don't have that happiness or that peace. You're just existing, which is fine. Existence is good, but I like to have the happiness and the peace as well.
yes, yes. And the existence and the exist and sometimes some people are just here to exist. I got to really quick, really quick.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
this is another thing, especially for you moms. In 2008, my father died, and my son was. Yeah, the service was in California, but my son was in New York, so he had to fly to the funeral. And after the service, before he flew back to New York, we went to the beach, and this we went to the beach and he asked me, he says, Mom, how do you feel? How do you feel now that Gramps is dead? And I only have one son. And my father was a jokester. And I said, Gramps is dead? So we laughed. And this photo was taken 1 hour after I buried my father. So what is the lesson? This is I felt it's my responsibility to teach my son how there is another way of responding other than that programmed way when I die. You can laugh, you can have fun, you can all of this is an hour after I buried my dad. And so to all you moms, just be conscious and aware of what you are teaching and sharing with your children. And you are the example. Your words are not going to teach. Your example, your energy teaches.
Yes, I love that so much. And um, I think that it's really can be expressed when you're in another country or something like that and you don't understand the language and someone is talking to you. And if they're talking to you in a way that feels like anger, you may have no idea what they're saying, but you can feel the energy or the vibration. And if they're talking to you in a way that feels like love and joy and respect and appreciation or adoration or something like that, like you can feel those things and you don't have to understand the words. The words, like you said, don't have the power, but that energy that we are sending forth when we are interacting with each other, we can feel that. And that I think is really important to realize and to understand and to harness to the best of our ability, I guess. So, I mean, so many more things that we could talk about, Rebecca. I love the conversations with you because they always make me think another way and reframe things and like, oh yeah, let me go think about that a little more later. So I hope it has been the same experience for everyone else that caught this live or catches it on the replay, that you leave with some thoughts, some concepts, some new things that maybe you can internalize and try out and see how they work for you. We're all different. We have to go through this life with what works for us. And like Rebecca said we're all at different parts in our journey, but we're all avocados.
All avocados. Squish, squish.
Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you again next Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Harmony Principle podcast. Please have a beautiful, beautiful day, and I look forward to speaking with you all soon. Check the show notes for ways to get in touch with Rebecca, and so you can catch her live streams on YouTube as well. And I think that's it. Have a good one. Bye bye for now.